Jeff, good afternoon. Nice weather, huh, man? We've had a nice turn here, and it looks like the weather's going to be good all week, including Sunday. Do you put anything to the remarkable stat, although these teams haven't faced each other all that much, but of 15 meetings, the Broncos are 7-1 at home, and they're 0-6-1 in Green Bay. And then conversely, the success, however you want to look at it from Green Bay's perspective, is the same. What about historical evidence in this very rare matchup do you give any credence to whatsoever?
Yeah, I mean, they've always been two of the best home teams over the decades, really. I mean, the Packers had a little blip or a significant blip, before Ron Wolf took the GM job there, and the Broncos have had their blips. But it seems like no matter through the years, no matter who's the quarterback, that they've always been two of the best home teams in the league. And, I don't know what you can attribute that to, some places and not others. But, and I think, especially the last 3 decades or so, both teams have had their fair shares of franchise quarterbacks behind center, and that always makes you better at home too.
Is this the toughest game remaining on the schedule?
I think so, in terms of total quality of opponent and, coaching, game planning. I mean, I think LaFleur is one of the best, in-game guys strategically that I look at on a regular basis. And, you got a player like Micah Parsons. I mean, he certainly has to be considered the best, maybe the best talent of any individual player left on their schedule, other than Mahomes. But I do think this is the best team front to back, all 3 units and coaching that they'll see down the stretch here.
Are we on target for Nate Atkins returning?
I don't know what on target is. They didn't put him on IR.
Right.
They made it sound like the target was 4. But
right.
He is progressing. He's doing more and more. If that means that he's going to play in a game soon, I can't tell that. But he's moving better than he was a couple weeks ago, and I'd be interested to see. I mean, Prentice is getting a lot of quality snaps, and they like his work. So, I think you would have to have other job description things for Adkins if he's going to be put back in the mix, because, I see little Jordan Humphreys snaps taken away from Franklin and Mims, and, would Atkins' return take away from what a fullback is, a real fullback has brought to the offense. I find it intriguing. Nix was under center more Sunday than he's been in any game this season. And I think it helped the run game, and I think it helped some of his footwork and other issues. So if you're going to continue in that direction, I think adding Atkins gives you more options in some of the personnel groupings to do that.
Jeff, do you think the offense has done enough in the last couple of weeks to quell the concerns that they're going to hold them back from the Super Bowl?
I wouldn't go all the way. I've seen some sort of, whether he admits it or not, I've seen some concessions on Sean Payton's part, for the team he has in front of him. I thought for a while this year he's been sort of coaching the team he hoped it would be on offense. And I think the last 3 games especially, they've done better at just fitting what they have. The whole short passing game Sunday was by design. I mean, they went that route, and it was effective. And it may not be fun to look at or all that fun to track statistically, but I think it was the right move in the situation they're in. And they've had him under center, Bo Nix under center more, and I think that's been better for him and for their offense. But I think it's awfully hard to do what you did Sunday in the playoffs and do it consistently, which is drive the field 80 or more yards, three scoring drives, and two of them at least 90. I think that's a tough formula in the playoffs against the defenses you see, and you're going to need some explosiveness somewhere at some point. And Sunday the explosiveness was Marvin Mims, but I think that's got to come from the offense at some point. And I think they've got to work the middle of the field better. I mean, all of my charts personally and all the metrics I see, Bo Nix is one of the least active quarterbacks to receivers out of the slot and routes targets in the middle of the field, and down the seams especially, and I think that's a fruitful area against nickel defenses, and I think they got to do better there too.
Well, has Evan Engram been a bust then by that metric?
Oh, he's going to finish second in catches or third in catches. I don't think that's a bust. He can only line up and catch the ball where they throw it to him. They're low on targets down the seams. I don't know that that's always the receiver's fault if the ball's not going there.
How do you put your finger on it then? Like that's a good question. I didn't. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't think they have a comfort level. I don't think Bo Nix has a comfort level through the middle of the field, or as I think I talked with you guys early in the season when I talked to defensive coaches in the off season last summer and into the fall. They all said they believed a lot of defenses were going to force Bo to work outside the numbers. They weren't going to give him those comfortable or the throws he liked in the middle of the field. And the numbers and the charts I do show that's come to fruition. So I think the Broncos, Bo Nix, Sean Payton, have to find a way to create some room in there. Because I don't know that you can just make a great, big, deep postseason run if you're not effective in that part of the field, especially against nickel and dime situational defenses.
Getting ahead of myself here, but since they were just in prime time, what are your thoughts on the Chargers?
Yeah, I mean, they're sort of like the Broncos. They just kind of it ain't always pretty, but they get it done. He's the most pressured quarterback in the league. He gets hit a lot, and and all those numbers say you shouldn't be effective if that's happening to you. I mean, he's also playing with a broken hand now too, but because of it. But he did a lot more than I thought he would be able to, Tyler. If I'm being honest, you've lived the life, but I've known players who played with that type of thing, and that's a tough thing. And I could see him an awful lot, sort of testing, how it felt. He'd kind of be working the glove between plays and things, and I couldn't tell if they had shot it up and he was trying to see if he had feeling in parts of his hand or if it was just hurting, because he used it to brace falls and stiff arm people, and if they can get enough from him, I think they're a tough out just because of the way they play. I don't think defensively they've got the chops like the Broncos do or some of these other AFC teams at the top.
Is Phillip Rivers starting for the Colts going against the Seahawks in Seattle more of a Disney story or Final Destination?
Could be half and half. You'd be right on both counts, probably. I mean, I don't know that's it says something for your. I mean, you knew Daniel Jones had a fracture in his leg weeks ago, and to not sort of have any plan B, on top of that is a little odd to me. And, it tells me, and, I may be wrong, I'm not there. So, but just in my time covering the league, it tells me the coach and the GM think they're in trouble, and they're just going to throw the Hail Mary of Hail Marys to try and pull it out. I mean, that team was 7-1 at one point.
Yeah.
And if you go from 7-1 and don't make the playoffs, it's awfully hard to tell the owner, who is sort of new in this power position, the three Irsay daughters. So it's a whole new landscape, and that tells me the GM and the coach aren't real sure where they fit in the landscape.
When Tyler and I were talking about it, we couldn't think of a more prominent person or anybody, maybe you can, who had been out of football and came back?
I looked it up. I'll be curious if Jeff can get the
Oh,
one.
you got
I
somebody.
found one that was longer.
Okay.
Same position,
Yeah.
Jeff.
Oh, okay. Good quiz right here.
That didn't play at all, or played in
Just like the
somewhere else?
longest gap between being out of the NFL and coming back.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would have a good handle on 5 years, but that list ain't long. I do know that.
Tommy Maddox was out 1995
yeah,
to
right.
2001, 6 years.
Really?
He went to the
Right.
XFL to try to start a comeback.
Okay.
Then he
Yeah.
came back to the NFL, and he actually won Comeback Player of the Year that year.
Wow.
For the Steelers. I think he came back with the Steelers at some point.
Yeah, but his age was actually okay. It's still, he was within reasonable playing age, though, right?
I have no idea.
Well, Tommy was drafted when he was 20 out of UCLA by the Broncos. So that's
a good guess, though. I mean, that's
Yeah.
I probably would have thought of that 3 hours from now.
Yeah.
I had to call you back.
All right, Jeff. Any other tidbits on the Broncos that we should be aware of this week before we get into the Packers?
I think it's pretty quiet.
Okay.
So I guess that's a good thing for the local franchise.
Yeah, it's an exciting time, and it's a great opponent to face. It's I can't see huge differences between these two teams, Jeff. They're both really good at like the most important things. The one thing stares out, and I'm sure maybe Sean will even be asked about it again. The penalties are just, what do you do? Maybe that's my last question for you. Seriously, well, how do you get these under control?
Well, some of it is functional. If you're going to play more man-to-man defense than anyone else in the league, and they are. I mean, I think they have 4 of the top 6 players in man-to-man snaps this year in the league, all in one defense. You're going to get flagged because I don't think officials know how to, since no one plays this much man-to-man anymore, I'm not sure officials know exactly how to officiate the hand fighting that goes on. So I think that's some of it. But, yeah, you can't be the third most penalized team and the most penalized defense and give yourself the best chance to win the trophy. So I'm not sure beyond technique things, that's all you can do is just make sure your technique things are good for those fouls and all the pre-snap stuff they get, 2 delay of games
Right.
In the game Sunday. That stuff has to stop. I mean, that's ridiculous that they're in week 14, 15, and they're having delay of games and illegal formations. I mean, come on, ask the umpire or the field side judge right next to you. Am I on the line of scrimmage? I mean, I just don't know that that's the kind of stuff you got to get rid of because that's what will really kill you in the games that matter when every first down is almost like gold.
All right, Leggy, we got to run. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, fellas.